Hey besties, it's Claudio, the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Operations Officer here at World Food Program USA. I'm about to give you a vibe check tour of our office.
As a person who thrives off evaluating multinational organizations, something has kept bothering me. Whenever major decisions are made about resource allocations, the people in the room, the decision makers, almost never look like the people who actually need those resources. Different countries, different economic realities, different lived experiences. And eventually, a question formed in my mind, a question that has haunted me ever since. What is the likelihood that some of these systems are designed to manage dependency rather than create development? Now, before anyone gets defensive, I'm not talking about individual intentions. Many people working in development genuinely want to help, but systems don't run on intentions. Systems run on incentives. Think about it like this. Modern medicine is extraordinary. It has saved hundreds of millions of lives. But at the same time, critics often point out something uncomfortable, especially about the business model. There's often more money in long-term treatments than in permanent cures. So, drugs are for maintenance, vaccinations, ongoing therapies. These options generate revenue for decades. A cure, on the other hand, ends the market. So, look at the timeline of human disease. The last human infectious disease we successfully eradicated from the planet was smallpox, which the World Health Organization declared eradicated in 1980. That was one of humanity's greatest public health victories. But since then, with all our innovations, we haven't eradicated another human infectious disease. So it feels like we're better at managing crises than eliminating them. And when you start looking at global development through that lens, another pattern becomes difficult to ignore. Many of the institutions that decide how resources flow into Africa or into poor communities in the West, they are overwhelmingly staffed by people who will never live with the consequences of those decisions. So they analyze poverty. They publish reports on poverty. They design programs about poverty, but they rarely ever experience poverty. And here comes my personal gripe. When decision making becomes that distant from the lived reality, something subtle begins to happen. Communities stop being treated as participants in development and start being treated as projects. Projects that must be renewed, projects that must be funded again next year, projects that must produce measurable outcomes to justify the next grant cycle. In other words, problems that must be managed but not necessarily solved. So, all this to say, if the people allocating the resources never experience the conditions they're trying to fix, how likely is it that the system will truly prioritize ending the problem rather than managing it indefinitely? And lastly, who benefits when problems are permanent?
Africa is not a poor continent. To the contrary, it is rich with strategic resources. It holds half of the world's minerals, including abundant rare earths, and 60% of arable lands that are often not utilized. Africa is not a poor continent, but it has been often and still is an exploited continent. Too often, the interventions of foreign nations on the continent have not respected local realities. Often the approach was predatory, and in spite of this fact, even paternalistic. We must change course.